Is this heaven?
No, it's a podcast. Welcome to the Field of Geeks podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 160 of the Field of Geeks podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Megan.
How goes it?
Busy.
Busy?
Yeah. We just finished building the deck, so we are
Congrats.
done with our summer project. Yes, thank you.
You got like a dynasty deck now, looks like, when I saw the photos.
Yeah. We'll have to have you guys over and show you the sheer size of it
Sure.
all. But yeah, it's nice and big. But
Just greet us in a tuxedo with a cigar or something.
Yeah.
Come up, friends.
Welcome to my abode.
I'm smoking some meat. Play the sappy soap music. You know, you joined the club. I think you guys started dismantling your deck before we did ours, and ours has been complete for over a month now. But ours wasn't like yours is like a split level, right? Kind of, or is it?
Yeah, it's
a lot of stairs going down.
Totally. Yeah, it's totally rebuilt now.
That's
so
cool.
We scrapped it all and rebuilt it from the ground up. So,
nice.
Oh crap! Don't mean to interrupt, but just looking 3 minutes ago, TMZ Alex Trebek passed away.
Oh my God! Really?
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Dead at 80 after battling pancreatic cancer.
Damn it.
I posted on the page, I'll take bummer news for 200, but that might be a little insensitive.
Oh, nah. I think that's... We need attention, so it's okay.
So in a way, I think it's fitting.
We'll do a press conference. Mitch will apologize.
For what it's worth, though, he had an awesome sense of humor.
Yeah.
And there was that episode of Family Guy where he says his name backwards, and then somebody actually did that in real life that was going to lose anyway. They just put Kebert Zella.
Oh my God!
I remember when he was diagnosed, he mentioned it on the show, and it said that he was going to be on, for as long as possible. Do we ever know when he quit recording?
Well, pretty much as soon as Corona hit, they did a limited number of shows, and then that was pretty much it. So anything more would be reruns.
Yeah.
Damn, such an iconic person in our lives. You know, he was always Jeopardy was
as iconic as Bob Barker from Price is Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, he even was on television in the 70s. He's a Canadian.
Oh yeah,
he's well known up there, and yeah, we'll talk about Schitt's Creek later. But Eugene Levy on SCTV, he used to impersonate him. They did. Well, yeah, he changed his name a little bit, so it wasn't exactly on the nose, but he did what Will Ferrell eventually would make more popular, I guess, on SNL with the Celebrity Jeopardy. Well, and that is kind of ironic, because on SNL Celebrity Jeopardy, the guest they had on a lot was Sean Connery, and he just passed, of course.
Man, that one hit hard. I don't know why.
It did.
That was just an iconic guy. Like, we all knew the day was coming,
mm-hmm.
and we were all frustrated when he finally called it quits because of the movie that he quit on.
Right. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yep. Wow, it was set at the same time.
Well, no. He was, if that movie had done well, he signed on for more.
Yeah, because it was based off a comic book series Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill created. And yeah, the reason why is Connery didn't like the director, Stephen Norrington. So I don't know if they even got into a physical fight. I've heard that rumor, but yeah, definitely had creative differences, and he just had a shitty experience on the film. And I think he officially retired in 2006, and I think they tried to get him back for the last Indiana Jones movie, which probably would have improved it, or probably would have been something he wouldn't want to end his career on. I don't know, but yeah, he did 93 films, and 2003's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was the last one, which
really sucks.
Yeah, it's a mess, but It is a really cool concept.
The concepts are cool. The problem is the whole reason why he did that movie was because he was offered Gandalf. He didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to see how big of a movie it became and immediately regretted it.
Yeah.
And then jumped on the first sci-fi thing that he saw and thought, oh, well, anything sci-fi can be good. And poof.
Well, I guess he also turned down the architect in the Matrix films, the last two of them.
Okay, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been.
I mean, I still think the guy who was the architect was creepy. But, man, imagine Sean Connery is creepy. A creepy architect.
I don't know if he could pull off creepy. I mean, unless they really did him up, The ladies probably be like, I'll go with you. I don't care. Some dudes as well.
I mean, it would just be his speech pattern. His ability to deliver something was just so beyond most people. So I was watching yesterday The Rock, right?
The Rock.
He didn't have very many lines, but he was so big in that movie. Like, he overshadowed Nicolas Cage, and I think that was supposed to be like a Nicolas Cage movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though he didn't have very many lines, I mean, he was still, like, more awesome than Nicolas Cage in the movie, because Nicolas Cage just kind of, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, well, that's when you get Con Air and the other films. Like, yeah, this was...
Right.
If you take Sean Connery out of The Rock, it's not a movie to me.
It's not a good movie.
It's not memorable or anything. And there's a lot of fan theories. It's not true, but it's kind of like a what if, what if he was James Bond? Because he kind of refers to his past and then he gets locked up.
Well, and that's the funny part, is that there are some, like, gentle nods in
that
movie.
Which was intentional, I'm sure.
Him being Bond.
Yeah, because he was on Her Majesty's Secret Service and all that stuff. That line, one of the classic lines in that movie, "You're best. Losers always whine about the best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen." I love that line.
Yeah.
It was on my yearbook, I believe, my quote. No, I'm kidding. You remember Mitch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Valley Pride. Age 90. Like, you just never thought he was going to pass. Like, he's such a big figure in our lives. He was the first James Bond. He did 7 of those films. Highlander, The Hunt for Red October, Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, The Untouchables, The Man Who Would Be King, The Rock, and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Also Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That's just to name a few. He's been in many more, but those are the ones that come to my mind.
The First Night.
I had never seen that. Is that one of your favorites?
Yes.
Yeah, Richard Gere and
Julia.
Yeah, what's her last? Can you pronounce her last name? I can't remember it. It's French, right?
Ormond?
Rabats. I don't know. Just go to Julia Roberts when you need a last name for Julia. There you go.
It's Julia Ormond.
Oh, okay. Ormond. Orbach or something like that? No, Ormond?
Ormond. Pronounce it how you will. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll go with that. We'll call her Julia. Julia Roberts. She was in First Night, everybody. No, I never seen that movie, but yeah, that's one of your favorites?
Yes, I watched it a lot growing up. I definitely suggest that you...
Okay. I'll put that on my list. What other memorable performances do you guys think of when you think of Sean Connery?
Oh, well, Indiana Jones' dad. I mean,
that's perfect casting.
He was always particular about his umbrella. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He scared off the birds, right? And they hit the airplane. Yeah, God, that was so perfect. The cast 007 as Indy's dad. The Untouchables, that was a good part he did. He played Jim Malone. He was an Irish-American officer. Made-up character. The Untouchables are loosely based on reality. It's fictionalized, of course. But yeah, he won his Oscar for that movie. Really had a big comeback. That was mid-'80s, I believe. Maybe 87, I want to say. But yeah, he just had hit after hit for a bit there. Hunt for Red October is one of the best, if not the best, submarine movie. It's got just everything in it. It's fantastic. And of course, he had Highlander. Maybe Highlander was 87. He made that movie, that's for sure. Christopher Lambert wasn't a huge star, and he probably never became as big, a cult sensation, I guess you could say. There is some cool trivia about Highlander. There's an intro voiceover that's said by Sean, and he actually recorded it in his bathroom. There's an echo.
Huh.
So, yeah, I don't know if it was because of a budget or something. Like, hey, Sean, we need you to do this. Can you?
Or maybe that was just planned, or maybe he just did it as a quick take to see, if the words were right, and the director heard it and was like, "Yep, that's good."
Yeah, he's like, I'm in the shit. Do you mind? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And so, yeah, there's an echo, and it's actually from his bathroom. It's not like, an effect or anything. But yeah, some trivia here. He worked as a coffin polisher before going into acting. After leaving the Navy, he worked as a nude model for art students. There you go, Megan. Megan's like, I want a transcript.
All right. I mean, he was a good-looking dude, even as an old man. So
I'm out of paper.
He got out of Bond, wasn't it because he was just getting too old and was afraid of being typecast?
I think it was a variety of things. They negotiated his initial contract. I think it was just $1 million, I think, for a movie, and Bond became so huge he was not able to renegotiate his contract. So I think he mainly left over money. I think he fulfilled.
But then he came back for one more movie, and I remember that being a big deal. But then also being a big deal because he wore a hairpiece for that.
Yeah, he actually wore a hairpiece from Goldfinger on. Yeah, he started losing his hair pretty early. You can tell in some shots, especially because they're, higher definition now. But they basically shoe polished his scalp. I think for the first 2 Bonds, so you could not tell really.
You know what's crazy though? When you watch these Bonds, they're so freaking slow, and yet it's labeled as an action movie, which is just like
they're just different.
My God, I'm sitting here.
Made at different times, the pace is way off older films. They just learned over time how to get to it. I think
the pace.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, he did come back for Diamonds Are Forever, and I think he donated all that salary to charity. He just didn't like the producers much, over the money issue, which I could, I see that. He's like the main star. He should get rewarded, and not to say he was a perfect guy. He probably might have been difficult to work with.
How did we always, just wondering, as a group of people, just assume that his Scottish accent, I mean, we just automatically took it as, oh, he's English. Okay, that's fine. His Scottish accent, he never hid.
To me, wasn't as thick in the earlier films. I think when he stopped giving a damn, which is pretty much after Goldfinger, you can tell he kind of started phoning it in a little bit. Ian Fleming, he did not like the casting at first because he's Scottish, and he didn't write Bond to have any, Scottish ancestry. But I think upon meeting Sean and stuff, he decided he had just changed the character, where he came from. So he just, basically made that change because he met Sean Connery and liked him and what he did with the part. He did come back even for Never Say Never Again. That was in 1983. That was his last James Bond, but it wasn't an official James Bond movie because Eon Productions didn't produce it. So it's kind of like its own thing. They couldn't even use the theme. They had to totally... they could use the names of the characters, but they could not, same actors or... It's very interesting. There's a whole fiasco about the rights situation with those. James Bond, I think he is the definitive James Bond.
Iconically, I think he's always first. Yeah, I mean, he had the poise. He set the standard for which James Bond should act and be as a gentleman and all that stuff. I would always say him first, then Daniel Craig.
Check my track record. I've said this many times on the show before that Sean Connery was always my favorite Bond.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
Bill.
We just talked about Sean Connery. Do you have any memorable favorite appearances of his? Anything comes to mind?
I really liked him in The Rock. I know a lot of people that was just, summer blockbuster, explosions and stuff like that. But I really thought he was good in that. I mean, obviously the only thing that I ever saw him in that I didn't care for was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I'm like the only one it's like, give it a chance. I just like some of the eye candy in it, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, some of the cars, sub. But yeah, the special effects are really shitty, They're not believable, let's say.
Here's the deal though, like these movies that he's in that you would consider bad, he's not a horrible actor in the movie. It's just the movie sucks. He's good in it, but it's everything around him sucks.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And I think the same goes for The Rock. I mean, like Nicolas Cage is over the top Nicolas Cage, but
Well, you still have Ed Harris. He's good in that. I mean, I think
he's really good.
I think most people in that movie are pretty good. I mean, I think you know.
Michael Biehn is classic Michael Biehn.
It is. It's classic. It's a classic Michael Bay movie. So you kind of have to suspend yourself from believing it's going to be an Oscar-worthy picture. But...
It might have been his follow-up from Bad Boys. I think that was his second film, maybe. I think it was before he got too ridiculous.
I feel like The Rock is kind of an extension, or if you wanted to see what Transformers was going to look like, just go watch The Rock, because it's all like military stuff and all the same like shot scenes and setups and like men line up, and
he made music videos I think before and car commercials. So yeah, I mean that's definitely his cup of tea right there.
He should have done it for the U.S. government.
Well, I think
all their ads for like joint.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
If
he probably did.
Videos like. Think of that.
Like in the 90s, those were badass like movies, right? Like Bad Boys was pretty badass. I mean, I've never seen a bad Michael Bay movie. I've just never seen a movie that says to me, man, that's Oscar worthy.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's his goal anyway. I think he just wants to I think he's just happy doing B movies, honestly. I mean, I don't know if he's really... Maybe Pain and Gain, he tried to go a little more serious, which I think was a good film for what it is. I mean, it's about bodybuilding. And you're always guaranteed
in the Michael Bay movie that there's going to be at least one very pretty lady.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think in The Rock you have Vanessa Marcel or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, like his movies are military commercials, like they are recruitment in a way, because they're all over the place, right? And they're shot beautifully, and so he doesn't even need to do commercials. Like just watch my movies.
Rafters. Yeah, you're just like, man, this pretty much kicks ass. It's just like he saw the movie Top Gun and then said, "This is what I'm going to do."
Mm-hmm. Well, and Jerry Bruckheimer produced Top Gun, so they were, a good match that way. And Bruckheimer. Basically, The Rock was Cage's way in with Bruckheimer, and then they did Con Air and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Hans Zimmer did the music scoring for The Rock.
Oh, that makes sense. That's a good score. That's still a popular score. Like if you think about
pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean some of the. I mean it's. I think it's still a classic movie. I think that was probably the pinnacle. And then it just kind of went downhill from there, more and more ridiculous. But that kind of had an attempt to give you a message, about what was it like? He lost his men or something, and his wife.
Oh, yeah, it was just they had so many missions, and they were covert.
Yeah,
and because they were covert, some of them couldn't be paid death benefits, and so he was gonna rid. California.
That blue gel gas that virus. That was terrifying when they just like left that dude in there. Like, sorry, man.
Oh man,
you can't come with us.
And he bubbles up.
Yeah, he's like. Yeah, I mean it was grotesque, and then it just felt very serious, and it's just iconic. The whole Humvee thing. Sean Connery saying like the dude he stole the Humvee from that one guy, and then the guy called him. He's like, I forgot what he said. He's like. I've got your Humvee or something like that, but just the whole oh my
god,
a lot of it's classic though.
Where Nick Cage steals a bike, he's like, "No, it's my bike," and then he hops on.
Yeah,
his motorcycle.
Cage tone shifts on a dime. It's crazy. That is still a good film. I'll check that out again. That's probably the best out of the Bruckheimer Michael Bay partnership
right now.
Well, there you go.
The Rock is on Hulu.
The Rock.
So make sure to check it out. I almost got through it all before I had to go drive last night. So
it's good. It's good. It's got a lot of good lighting and good one-liners.
Oh yeah.
It's like, have you ever heard of Elton John's "A Rocket Man"? And he's like, I don't like songs.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's you. You're the Rocket Man.
It's just like. Nicolas Cage ad-libs phrase, and that's what they put in the line. He just can't think of anything.
The actor's like, what's going on?
Yeah, like if you're a bad guy,
I don't like songs.
That would trip you out. because you don't know what's coming, right? It's this crazy Nicolas Cage. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there waiting for something, and then poof, you get thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to James Bond himself.
Kind of looking into it just to see if there's been anything more than, rumors and hearsay about it. As far as a new James Bond, there hasn't been anything yet. But there's also a lot of talk from Hollywood of wanting to make James Bond more like 2020 friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Because James Bond's always been, he's been, a upper class white guy with a British accent who's a misogynist and a sociopath, pretty much. And it's like, does that work in today's environment with like the Me Too movement and and everything like that? So it's kind of like after this Bond is done, are they going to have an actual James Bond movie, or is it just going to be 007 with somebody else taking up?
They've always done that. Like after they realize that this Bond's done, they're like, oh man, now we can retool it as we please. He's not going to use. Remember Daniel Craig, like the whole beef with him. Oh, he's not going to be using any guns, or he's got blonde hair. He may be gay, but we don't know. And it's just like that. None of that stuff.
He's a pansexual. Like they refer to that in Skyfall.
Yeah, like they always default back to the same Bond that we all know because it works.
Pierce Brosnan era, I think, tackled it pretty well. You had a female M, and then she called him out on some of his shit, but he still was that. He didn't.
Right.
And it was okay. It's escapism, that's what it is. And definitely you can't name people Pussy Galore anymore and things like that. Like we've definitely, I think, come to terms with that. But Lashana Lynch, I think is her name. She's the new 007 because he's retired in this latest film. So it kind of sucks. Like his last film, he's not even 007. He's James Bond, but he's not 007. Unless she dies and he gets it back. I don't know how that works. Maybe they'll put an asterisk. Honestly, if they want to put Bond to bed for a bit and try a spinoff, they have attempted this before. They were going to do GEEKS with Halle Berry, and it didn't go through. Probably because Die Another Day was just not received well. Like it made money, but it's laughable. It's not really. It wasn't a good film. It was a bad last outing for.
You can start to see like these movies becoming really campy, and I hate to say this, but 2001 brought them back to a more serious tone. And made them better again because they were campy.
The Bonds have always followed the same pattern. They start out like serious, and then they get campy, and then they go over the top like Moonraker, and then they dial it back with less gadgets and all that, and they take the camp out. So it's always had this wave of it just repeats itself all the time. The Craigs have been very serious, and they've tried humor with them, and it kind of works, but. I think we miss just having fun with Bond, It's so damn serious now. They've Jason Bourne'd him. And some of it's been interesting, right? But, again, the whole universe is not that broad anymore. It's all centered around Bond. And it just wasn't that way before, He was just a secret agent trying to take down bad guys. And it was enjoyable, And I think we just need to get back to that those fun times. But yeah, you just gotta have a good balance. I don't think they've ever been able to figure that out, and once they have figured it out, like in certain movies, they either try too hard to repeat and not do something new at the same time. I really think they should follow the Mission Impossible model right now. I think each one of those films is great, and it's got a great balance of everything. I don't think whoever's going to play Bond should try and kill themselves doing stunts, though. That's just crazy. But, I don't think that shouldn't be the selling point. It's like, well, what stunts are you going to do next? But I think just try to get that Mission Impossible flair or the Man from U.N.C.L.E. flair. It's fun, right? It's exciting. And the plot's not too hard to follow. But it doesn't have to be too easy either, like there should be good writing. Yeah, I think that's what the future of Bond, it needs to go back to having more fun. I think you definitely needed to try out this whole seriousness with Craig. The first movie he did, Casino Royale, was amazing, right? And I think they've been trying to recapture that. That was just lightning in a bottle. I came out of that viewing and I was so amped, you know. I was like, this is great. Like, feels like finally we were on to something here. And I didn't like his casting in the beginning. He still looks like Red Grant to me, you know, from Russia with Love. He looks like a henchman more than Bond. It's grown on me, so I'm okay with whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge, I think. But I do think Barbara Broccoli, producer of the films, she did say Bond will never be female. So you don't have to really, you know, worry about that gender swap, I guess, because I don't think it's necessary, honestly. I mean, take that out. You know, if you have a problem with gender swapping, take that off the plate. In a way, you know, James Bond, that's his character. It's like if you want to really retool like a whole character, you might as well just make a new one. You could expand the universe.
I don't really think, like, you know, I'd want somebody playing, you know, James Bond, like actually being addressed as James Bond, but like you have to suspend your disbelief being, you know, with them being a woman.
Yeah.
You know, like I've always thought of James Bond as kind of like a code name anyway, like along with 007. Like that's, you know.
Well, I think it was until this last movie where he talked about the Bonds clan or something like that. And then it kind of put a perspective that was a family name.
Which makes sense because, I mean, you can't have, you know, like the Roger Moore 007. He was, you know, back in like the 60s. You can't, obviously, he's not going to be 90 doing flips off of a balcony and stuff like that. I really just think like if they bring back kind of like what Josh was saying, like bring back some of the classic Bond moments. Like if you know, the car that, you know, shoots out smoke and missiles and stuff like that. Like you can't really, I mean, you don't need to sci-fi it up so much as like Moonraker was, but
yeah,
if you make it a little more like what was it, The Kingsman or something like that?
Oh yeah,
where you have like, you know, gadgets that actually could be believable.
Right.
Like, you don't need a wristwatch that shoots lasers, but you know what I mean. Like,
do you think that I enjoy The Kingsman, but do you think that's kind of campy itself? Like, I think that might be too campy. Like, I get, like, the first one I like a lot. I think if you kind of did the first one more, the second one I think got really campy, but I still enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying?
The first one was really, I think, had like just the right amount of camp to it.
Right, yeah, and I think that would be good for a Bond film. I really like that. Yeah, when you get into like bringing people back from getting shot in the head and things like that, it kind of gets silly, you know. Yeah. But I still liked it. But it's not a Bond. But yeah, the first Kingsman I think would be a great way to. And here's the other thing: all these movies they've made, they didn't exactly follow the books, so you could actually redo the ones that didn't and go by the book itself, adapt it from more of the book standpoint. Like I think Moonraker was actually, and some of it might be kind of stupid, I guess, but Moonraker, I guess it was Goldfinger's brother who was the bad guy. So in the book, and that definitely was not the case in the movie. So I think that's a way you could totally have fun and go back. Like, I think that's what made Casino Royale so refreshing. They finally got the rights to do it, and they did it justice. I don't think they really changed too much. You know, he still got his balls hit. You know, I was in the book, I guess, and you know, that was a scene they were talking about. Like, how are you going to put that on screen? And that's
that was an actual scene in there.
In Casino Royale, yeah. When
I know it's in the movie, but I just didn't realize that was actually in the book.
Oh, the books get really, the books. They do have some elements that need to probably be taken out, you know, from its context, just because Ian Fleming wasn't really well known to speak well of other races in his books. Kind of stereotyped. It was not good.
He didn't exactly pull many punches when he wrote the book.
No, yeah. That's just, you know, it was more acceptable back then and all that. Yeah, I think that's a way you could do is go back and redo the books, adapt the books more than change them up, you know. If James Bond was a code name, that's the only way you can have all these films probably be in the same universe, except you have Blofeld, right? So I think that's more of a fan theory. It's 007's the code. James Bond is James Bond. That's why this new 007 is not James Bond. She's just her own person. I think that's kind of a clever way to spin off, have the same code name but a different character. Like, I would be more accepting of that, but not change who James Bond is, you know? Like, if you want James Bond to retire, I guess, or whatever, or just reboot it again. I mean, that's what they did with...
They should do it like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Oh, you want... kind of like reincarnate.
Regenerates? Have them all come back together for a holiday special? That'd be fun.
You know what would be hilarious is like if Daniel Craig's like, it's my time to go. And then the Bond girl goes, no! And then all of a sudden he kind of sparkles out and the new James Bond appears. He's like, ta-da!
Yeah, I'm sure the fans will accept that.
But that's the way it has to go.
Well, shit, you could video game it. Have them all verse each other. They have to fight for the prize. Like, I want to come back. Like, no, I want to come back. And then they just go all around the world.
How crappy those graphics were on GoldenEye.
Oh, but at the time, they were probably...
code. And if you did a certain code, you could get like Sean Connery and like some other classic Bonds and stuff.
Well, that's the other thing. You know, Sean Connery, he's going to live on through many things, but video games as well. Remember they adapted From Russia with Love, early 2000s, I believe? Yeah. And they had him come back and voice the part. It sounded like an old Sean Connery, but it was still fun because you played From Russia with Love. It was really cool. I had that for PS2, I believe. It is kind of off-putting.
Which one was Jaws in? Was that a Roger Moore one?
Yes.
Or was that Sean Connery?
The Spy Who Loves Me and Moonraker.
Shoot. I was hoping that like Jaws was in at least one of the ones with Sean Connery.
No, but
I believe Mr. Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than 2 hours ago. Well, good for him. My God.
Well, Diamonds Forever, you had the two gay henchmen, which they were awesome. Like, they were fun, the way they killed people and stuff. And actually, Crispin Glover's dad, Bruce Glover, was one of the henchmen in that show. They never really tackled it, but you could tell they were lovers, you know? It was just funny. One of them was checking a girl out or something. The other guy gave him, like, devil eyes. Like, what are you doing? But the way they just killed people, like, I think one of their lines was, like, if men were meant to fly, God would have given them wings or something when they killed somebody. Or it's just, that's from Diamonds Are Forever. That movie's bonkers. You know, that's just,
yeah.
I just got reminded that I think that would have been something cool if they would have went back, you know, when they did their From Russia with Love game. If they would have done more Bond films, right? They could have had Roger Moore come back, you know. But of course, you know,
Casino Royale would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, and they actually did a couple Craig games, I think. They used his likeness, but different dude was the voice. Like, those Bond games are actually fun because you can just go all out, and they kind of...
It's an interactive...
Yeah, like GoldenEye was reimagined, and I do have that, and I think it was even reimagined again. So they just kind of adjusted it. And of course, Bill probably knows more than I do.
They fixed the polygon faces.
They fixed everything, and they gave it a whole facelift and whole relook.
Ultimate multiplayer game back in the day too.
Yeah, and I didn't even have the system. Like I wanted the system just for the game, you know. But yeah, that was
64.
That set the stage, right?
It really did. I mean, it really the way they did it so that it could be kind of modified. You know, you didn't have to follow set rules. You could make it so like one hit kills you, or
the golden gun. That always pissed me off. Getting killed from the golden gun.
Damn you!
Oh yeah, because you know there'd always be that one jackass that knew the game better than everybody else.
Oh yeah,
get the golden gun.
And they knew where you respawned too, right?
Yeah, right. And then you go and walk over, and you hear doo 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 doo. You respawn. You're like, son of a bitch.
Did you ever play that game, Megan?
I did not.
Never played it?
Oh.
Nope.
What?
I know. It's a terrible human being.
We'll have to, when we can get back together again, maybe with Bill's help, we can key up a little play party or something and put it on YouTube. I don't know.
That'll work out because we got a giant projector screen for the basement.
Ooh.
So it's going to be our new movie and gaming venue.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There we go.
Right.
Sounds like a plan.
If they make a mini N64, that has to be on there.
That would be the selling point for me. I won't get it otherwise. I won't care about anything else but that. That's the closest I'm going to get. I'll do it. I already got the classic, so. It is coming.
See, the The thing with the classic ones that come out with, though, is that they've only been compatible for 2 players. So they'd have to like make it where it came with the 4-player port on it, like the old N64 did.
Right. All right. I wonder if that's something they can upgrade, or if it's not possible. I'm not sure. It's probably pretty limited, right, to what it can do.
Yeah, I was impressed. Like, I got the Super Nintendo Classic, and I was impressed with how much they had on it.
What's your take on that? I haven't purchased one, but I thought about it.
Well, I got the Super Nintendo one for free because a friend of mine was playing it, and he never used it, so he just gave it to me. It runs just perfectly smooth. I mean, smoother than the system did, back in the day. It was VGA cables and limited memory and stuff like that. But if it was a system where like you could kind of customize it and say, I want these games, but I don't want those.
Right.
Because there's a ton of games on the Super Nintendo one that I don't care for. I mean, I could care less about it, but like Super Mario World, that was a classic one that I grew up playing, and it's kind of neat to see my kids playing it now.
Sure. We have the NES Classic, and it's got all the Marios on it. I think it's pretty good. I can't remember how much you spent on it. It's not too bad.
$50, I think. No.
Yeah, and we have the Sega as well.
I want to get the Super NES just for Star Fox. Such a great game.
Star Fox.
So that is on there, right? Game. Is it just that one, or is there more Star Foxes?
1 and 2.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 was kind of like a developmental one they did in Japan, and it never saw a U.S. release until recently.
Have you played it?
I have. It plays very similar to the first one. There's not really a whole lot of, there's like a lot of reused textures and stuff like that. So it's not like, a brand new game by any means. It's kind of like an expansion pack almost.
We're in November now, and, Christmas is coming up. So we have a lot of game systems on our minds. We got PlayStation 5. That's coming up, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you remember when the NES Classic came out? That whole Christmas thing, like people had it on back order and everything, and they were struggling to get the back orders filled. Yeah. It kind of seems like like Sony's doing the same thing with the PlayStation 5. Like that
doesn't surprise me.
They had actual pre-orders on the Sony PlayStation website, but you could only do a pre-order if you got like an email from PlayStation Network saying, hey, this is available if you want it.
Wow. Oh.
Hey, you play our games so much, you'll get a free copy.
Well, free. Yeah, they gave you the opportunity to pre-order it along with any peripherals you wanted, but there's a lot of stores that are really struggling with the pre-orders, and some of them have even, like Walmart, I think, they have them where you can pre-order it on a certain date. You can like pre-order it for like the holiday season, but you can only do it online and get it shipped to you. Like they're not going to have any physical copies in the store.
That's smart. That's actually smart if you think about it. Then you won't get bum rushed. Then you don't have to worry about the people who get pissed off and start throwing shit at your store because you don't have it anymore. I think that's smart, but that's just me.
That not still the issue with the Nintendo Switches and the Nintendo Switch Lite? Because when I get on there to look, they're still completely out of stock.
Yeah, and you have to think of the current, climate that we're in too. Like with coronavirus and everything like that, people haven't been able to go necessarily like, to work in the factories and stuff like that to put them together. A lot of those factories got shut down in Japan with the coronavirus being so, robust there, I guess.
You have a point there, because not only that, but probably just the raw products itself to put it together is probably at a shortage too. I know that when we were building our deck this summer, the price of wood went up dramatically just in a few short weeks.
How many people did you have to kill for yours?
Well, we went over to Gilchrist, but some of the stuff we were just like, oh my God. And they were the only ones that had it, so we had to get it there. But a couple of things we ended up getting at big box stores because it was just cheaper. We had to kind of go shopping and piece it together. But yeah, it definitely probably jumped at least 30 or 40% of what we originally had planned for.
Well, and here's the other thing to consider, and I could be wrong, but I like to think they were working on the PlayStation 5 close to launch, right? Kind of like they do with films. Like, if they finally got everything, all the components just right, and it was running smoothly, when you have to get that to the factory and have adjustments made, I mean, is that a possibility there too, Bill, about it being, a delay?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. Whenever a new console comes out that's so ambitious, and it's not just a PlayStation issue, like Xbox runs into the same problem. There's always going to be problems with it, like right up front.
Right.
So that's why I'm not necessarily going to get it like day one of launch.
Yeah.
Like I can wait,
Right.
Because it's
me too.
You're going to have those issues where, this doesn't work or the CPU runs too hot or something like that, and Sony's going to have to go back and retool it a little bit and then re-release it. And Xbox runs into that problem quite a bit too. Like if you have a system that gets the red ring of death, as they call it, it's kind of like getting the blue screen of death on your PC.
Is that still an issue with Xboxes? Like, I know the originals had that issue, right? But do the new ones as well?
I don't think the Xbox One so much ran into that problem, but like the Xbox 360, that was a huge issue. Like
right.
Overheating and it's not, if it's a hardware issue, there's not necessarily like a patch for it. You have to send it back and have it repaired.
I wouldn't be in a rush either. Every launch, I'm not one of those like I have to have it right now, because I'm still on my last system, and they're still making games for it, so that does help.
The good thing is too that the way it's set up is that most of the launch titles for the PS5 can be played on the PS4.
Nice,
but they're meant to be played on the PS5
sure.
with the haptic feedback and
of course
the higher resolution and stuff like that. So I mean that's kind of a workaround for it for me. Like if I really wanted to play one of the PS5 games, I could go and get it for PS4 and then replay it when I get the PS5 and see it in all of its glory. But
right.
At the same time, it's like, do you want to experience it in IMAX or do you want to experience it on?
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. It has doesn't have a 4K player.
8K.
It's what?
I think it has 8K capabilities. PS5.
But it will play. Won't it play 4K movies?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. See, that's how I got my Blu-ray player. Is my PS3. I never actually. I don't. Yeah, actually, I do now own a Blu-ray player, but that was the first Blu-ray player I had. So with the 5, it's probably gonna be my first 4K player.
Well, and when Blu-ray players first came out, a lot of people were getting the PS3 just because it was, not only a cheaper Blu-ray player, but you had more versatility with it.
Oh yeah, the earlier Blu-ray players were shit. Like, I mean, my stepdad had one, and it just took forever to load. It was crazy, but yeah, the PS3 was top notch. I thought still holds up.
Oh yeah, definitely. And another another issue that I've seen, because I follow Sony on Facebook, and I kind of see what everybody's comments are on that whenever they mention, the PS5 releases and stuff. And there's people that have done their pre-orders for PS5 and for the peripherals, and they've already gotten their peripherals for it.
Oh no,
the cameras and controllers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh sure.
But at this time, we don't know when you're going to be getting your PS5. That's. You can just pretend it's kind of like when you're playing with your little brother and you unplug the controller so he can pretend he's playing. I don't know.
Any day now, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. No. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to be the biggest issue with it. I think there's going to be a lot of, which I guess is kind of smart on Sony's part. Especially with as many people that do streaming and YouTube now. It's going to be a very exclusive, small group of people that have the PS5 at launch.
Yeah.
And that's going to just build up the hype for it and the, demand for it.
Sure, of course.
And memes will come.
It's funny how the UPS trucks and the Prime trucks are like the adult ice cream trucks. It's like they come down your street and you're like, is it my package? Is it here? Did we get a package? I don't care. I'm just going to look. Hopefully they come to my door.
I know that was... Man, when Corona first started and we were in quarantine and everything, that was my adult ice cream truck.
Right.
I wonder if my order's here yet. And,
it needs a jingle, doesn't it? Just come down the street. It's just oh, you just push your kid off. Yeah, get out of here. Is that the ice cream? No. We got a package. No, it's exciting. It's like Christmas. It's cool and sad, maybe at the same time. I don't know.
So my biggest gripe with the PS5, as of right now, is, I played the Spider-Man PS4 game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfect. It was everything that I've always wanted from a Spider-Man game. So I was really excited when I found out that they were doing the Miles Morales game for PS5. And it looks really amazing. Like, it looks, just as good as the first one did. The PS5 Miles Morales game is going to come with PS4 Spider-Man game completely like remastered and everything like that. But the one thing they changed in it is they changed Peter Parker's character model. So he no longer looks 25. He looks like Tom Holland de-aged to be 10 years old.
Oh, I did see that.
And it's like, why would you change something like that? I guess they wanted to make the character model look more like Yuri Lowenthal, who did the voice acting.
Oh, I see. Sure.
But I just can't imagine you look at him and it looks like he hasn't even hit puberty yet. He's supposed to be a 25-year-old guy.
I'm Spider-Man.
And it's just, I don't know.
Okay, so I didn't know. I guess I forgot that the PS4 game was more centered on a adult Spider-Man, adult Peter Parker. So yeah, that is not good for sure.
Yeah.
Jeez, who okayed that, man?
Sony's been very vague about it. Like, I don't know if there was an issue with the old character model or, they kind of used somebody's likeness, obviously, for it.
Sure.
And I don't know if there was like a legal issue with that, or if they're trying to make him look more like Tom Holland to keep up with the current generation of Spider-Man. Yeah. But there's been people that have, it's been really impressive, actually. There's been people putting up videos on YouTube where they modify the original game so that, like they have Mary Jane look like Kirsten Dunst and Peter Parker look like Tobey Maguire.
Right.
Stuff. It's actually been pretty cool to see them do that, but I don't necessarily know that I would need to go back and replay Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man.
Right.
Because when I got it, it's the only game I ever pre-ordered for the PlayStation. I sat there and I played it and I got platinum on it within, 30 days. So I really, really love that game. But
because you get more skins, right, when you get platinum?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got they released like all kinds of different suits for it and stuff like that. Playing it with updated graphics and updated hardware and stuff like that would be cool.
Sure.
But it's kind of the same reason why I didn't buy the PS4 Pro. Like, I didn't need to see it with, higher frame rate. Right. It was perfect the way it was.
Yeah, and of course it takes years to make a game, so I see why they just kind of revamp it versus making a whole new game. You wouldn't get it right away, and people are hungry for it once they get the PlayStation 5 system. So that's probably another reason why when a new console launches, you don't really get a lot of great games per se. It takes a little time.
Well, the other thing that kind of bugs me about it, I guess, I don't know what. I haven't looked too heavy into the specs to see how much memory you get on PS5 at launch.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought an external hard drive for my PS4 because, games are like, especially the big AAA games, they're like hundreds of gigabytes worth of data.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
You look at Call of Duty when they put out it's like a 80 gigabyte update.
Damn.
So if you're somebody that likes those really memory heavy games, the PS5 does not have SSD compatibility at launch. So it's kind of like, are you going to be able to play, a whole library of games or just 5 of them?
Right.
Not that there's going to be, a huge launch, but a lot of developers are making it so that when you boot up the PS5 and you pull over your games from PS4, that they're played with like better graphics and, crisper resolution and everything like that. So I think that's going to be kind of an issue they'll need to fix. I think is something they probably should have launched it with. You never know. They some of the peripherals they came out with made no sense. Like they have a remote that basically looks like a Roku remote, but like, painted white.
Oh,
that's cool.
It has like the quick buttons on it for like Netflix and stuff like that. But
of course,
it's kind of like, whenever I use my PS4 to watch movies, I just use a regular controller. So I don't necessarily need a remote control, but
Sure, yeah. That's what I have for my PS4. For 3, I did get a remote, but it was like a good deal when I found it.
I had the same thing for the PS2 when it came out. And it made more sense because, trying to navigate a DVD with the PlayStation controller sucked, but,
Right.
Yeah.
Came a long way, man. PlayStation 1, you could play a CD, and they just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember having to use memory cards, though?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I had stacks of those.
Oh, I bet. I never had too many of them, but yeah, I think they stopped after 2, right, with the memory cards.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think you could you use the PS1 on the 2? I can't remember. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was backwards.
Yeah, you could.
Sweet. Yeah. See, damn it, they're saving us money back then. Yeah. Oh gosh, I know it's come a long way. I mean, I'm excited about the 5, and I'm loyal to PlayStation. I remember when I first got my PlayStation, no one knew what the hell it was around me. I couldn't find anybody who had one. I think you had the Sega Saturn, maybe that's what came out at the same time. I think it was Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn came out, and
yeah,
they were at the time Nintendo was trying to develop the disk drive for the 64. And then that fell through, but it actually kind of gave birth to the PlayStation.
That's awesome. I remember plugging that in, and the logo and everything. My stepdad helped me hook it up, and you didn't have too many games. We did buy ESPN Extreme Games. Oh my God, that's still one of my favorite games. I wish they would revamp that game. I don't know if you've ever played that, but it was so funny. Yeah. It was comedic, because if you hit one of those poles, it just had the it just had the crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, it was awesome.
Were just amazing.
You could kick people on your bike, and you can kick and punch people. It was so fun. Oh, it was good stuff. And sometimes it wasn't, it was the graphics for its time, but yeah, you would, if you're on a luge, I think I've hit a few cars or something. Or livestock would come out in the middle of the road some places, and you'd hit them, and I think they'd explode and you'd fly off. And oh my God, I really wish they'd revamp that damn game so much.
They are doing a revamp of Tony Hawk, though.
Right.
Finally.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people are asking for that, and like the later games they made in the series just sucked, but they're trying to like revamp that, and like Skate 3 and stuff like that I think is getting a revamp. And so it's they're kind of catering more to like older gamers now, I think, which is good. But
I'll cross my fingers for ESPN Extreme Games then, because I really I hope they do that. I think that'd be pretty successful. I mean, and if it's a copyright issue or whatever, the ESPN doesn't want to be involved, then just call it something different. But yeah, I mean, I think that's like we were talking about the Bond films. I think that's how you can reinvent them, put better graphics with them.
And they don't focus that much on with like the sporting games for new consoles. They don't focus on those markets anymore. Like it's all FIFA this, NBA that. Like I could care less about those, but if I got a game where I actually felt like I was having fun playing it, then I'm going to play it.
Right. In our lifetime, video games haven't transitioned as well as comic books to the big screen. Mortal Kombat comes to mind. That's been successful. We had the Tomb Raiders and the Resident Evils. Maybe Uncharted will be the next one.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's been kind of in development hell for a while.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's going to be one of those things that's really going to propel Tom Holland's career. I think it's going to show him as more of like a versatile action star than just getting typecast as Peter Parker. The photo he put on his Instagram made it look, like he was taken right out of the video game. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, and then Mark Wahlberg, I think he posted a photo as well. I'm not familiar with his character he's playing. I don't know the Uncharted game as well as I should, but I know it's very adventure heavy, right? It's like Indiana Jones sort of in a way. Yeah,
it's kind of like Indiana Jones. It's like along that same line of like Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones, kind of like that. Like exploration, puzzles, investigations, kind of thing. It reminds me a lot of the original like Mummy trilogy.
Sure.
So it's kind of, if you like something along those lines, Uncharted is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, Tom Holland's amazing. Like he's an athlete himself. Like he does a lot of flips and shit. So I could totally see him, making that come to life. If they let him, insurance probably like, watch what you're doing here. But yeah, it's nice that it's finally gonna see the light of day. I hope it's successful. I don't understand how it's so hard to make a successful film from a video game. I really don't. A lot of the work's already done. If you play a video game anymore, you have all those great story elements, and yeah, it's just weird. Like Assassin's Creed, right? Was that what it was? Michael Fassbender was in. That should have been like easily successful, but yeah, they tinker with the whole concept of the game.
Yeah, and it's video games are almost movies in themselves now.
Maybe that's why it's so hard. Yeah,
with the cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah, and just like
they're better even.
Actually, in the makes you feel like you're actually in the game, and
yep,
it's very realistic with the cutscenes and dialogue and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I think video games is kind of getting to that point of it's going to be more of a cinematic experience, versus just jump over that, save the princess,
right?
Kind of thing.
Which is, Mortal Kombat was good for them to expand on it in the movie. Not saying it was like, oh my god, revisionary, but that movie still had an impact. When I was a kid to now, I think that first one is just right, and the game didn't. Yeah. The game was kind of vague in a way, so they were able to like insert a few things to connect the dots, and I think it worked very well. If anything, it's more challenging probably now to make a good movie. If you copy exactly what the game was, then it's kind of like it's not earned maybe the success.
Yeah.
It's like I've already seen this, so you got to give me something new, which I guess that's probably what they did for Assassin's Creed. But I mean, if they can do it with comic books, comic books have had animated adaptations as well. So, what's really the difference? I think you just have to get, I don't know. I'd just hire the freaking creative team who made the games to help with the movie. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know, but you know how it is. Everyone wants to put their stamp on something, an ego thing, if you will. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I imagine this movie's got a huge budget, for what they want to do with it, and the cast. Mark Wahlberg's in it, sure. So Mark Wahlberg will probably play Mark Wahlberg with a mustache. So I'm sorry, I don't hate the guy, but it's like I just never really feel like there's a difference there. I think he's just playing himself.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on him, but I'm sure you'll do fine. I don't know when the hell it'll be able to come out, but.
Yeah, I think they're looking at a July 2021 release date for it.
Sweet.
So it's probably going to be one of those like summer blockbuster things when it does come out. And hopefully by then, theaters are back up and running.
And the Zombieland director is on it right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Ruben Fleischer?
Yeah.
It will be a prequel or an origin story, basically, right? Because Tom Holland's playing a younger version of the character we know of.
Yeah. Nathan Drake is like in his 30s in the movies or in the video games.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, this one's going to be kind of like an origin story kind of thing. And I mean, they've got 4 games to pull content from basically. I'm sure this will get him kind of caught up to like the main story.
Mm-hmm.
And then, probably 2 years later we'll get like Uncharted 2 or, but I mean, Tom Holland's one of those guys. He's probably going to be in his 40s and still look, 15.
Right.
So
before we go, let's talk about some recommendations. The Mandalorian Season 2 just dropped 2 weeks ago, so we have 2 episodes now. Try not to spoil too much. I know, Megan, you haven't seen it, but it's on our list, so she will catch up eventually. But yeah, what are you guys thinking so far of Season 2?
Awesome. It just ranks right up there.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting for him to drop a few more episodes, and then I'm going to go back. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm glad that, it kind of seemed like for a while there that Pedro Pascal might drop out.
Yeah, which was concerning.
Yeah, but I mean, they were able to work it out, and I like what Jon Favreau's doing with it, and that he's bringing in like other directors to like kind of give their own take on the story and stuff like that too. I'm really excited for it. I think it's kind of going to be the future of Star Wars, to be honest.
Yeah, it just expands everything. It fills in the gaps. There's a lot of gaps in Star Wars. And I love Star Wars, but yeah, there's a lot of things that are just kind of like vague, right? And this kind of expands on a lot of things. You get to go see certain places again, and you get to see people around those places, and just all kinds of aspects. But yeah, well, what about you, Mitch? You enjoying? I think we're all fans of Mandalorian here and strongly recommend it. But yeah, what are you thinking of season 2 so far, Mitch?
Season 2 is strong. We'll see what happens. And, obviously the return of Boba Fett will be interesting, but we've already seen his armor, at least in episode 1. So that will be very interesting to say the least.
It's great eye candy, and yeah, storytelling's great. It, right when you get into it, the episode's over usually. Right. Yeah, I want to see season 1 all over again. I've kind of forgotten a few things, but yeah, man, Baby Yoda is still popular. My kids haven't seen the show, but they love Baby Yoda. It's crazy how, it's it's such a popular thing. It's a great show. I recommend it. Disney Plus. That's pretty much why I have Disney Plus, is to see that. Schitt's Creek.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes. I'm not by any means a fan or anything like that. I haven't really watched a lot of it, so.
I'm not good at describing humor, but it's an acquired taste in humor is how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's kind of like dry humor, right? Sort of.
Yeah. Dry. See, I always thought I related really well to dry humor, and then when I was talking about The Office, someone's like, "That's not dry humor," but it is dry humor.
I would say it is. I mean, yeah, there's certainly drier humor. They're not like bursting out with like, "Hey," it's not like Friends,
Now that I know lots of people like Friends, and I didn't care for it. That's
what?
I know.
I like Friends. I still like it. Oh, I still like it. They watched it again when it was on Netflix a year ago, and it's just a fun show. I think you just turn your brain off. I'm not saying it's like, oh my god, remember that episode where so and so blah 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 lost a kidney? It's like they don't do that, obviously, but Schitt's Creek, man, it's a dramedy. It's more comedy, but there's some little things of drama in there. And like I said, I started watching it like 3 weeks ago with my wife, and we just finished it, all 6 seasons. And yeah, I would say give it a couple more episodes, Bill. You might start liking it a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a slow burn. I think we just liked how they were short episodes, and we were still interested. And then before we knew it, we just were hooked. I don't think we've seen our kids since. It's a good show, and see, that was dry humor right there, guys. I have seen my kids since. Where are they? No, but it's a great.
Does really well together. I think they. I mean, aside from the fact that 2 of them are related, or I guess 3.
Yeah.
I think they do a really good job of playing off of each other.
Yeah, made a star out of Dan Levy, Gene Levy's son, and he's got a huge future now, and it was a gamble for Eugene to take this project on and trust his son, and not to say they agreed on everything, I'm sure, but yeah, they really produced a great show. And Catherine O'Hara, she got to come back. She was kind of like not really doing anything, she's the mother from Home Alone, and very talented actress, Beetlejuice. They all won Emmys this year for the show, so that was also very, very cool. And yeah, the episodes go by really quick, but yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It was a fun show, and yeah, I hope it comes back somehow, some way, maybe a movie form. Another thing I like to recommend is Unsolved Mysteries, the new Unsolved Mysteries, if you will, on Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we've watched 1 episode of Volume 2. They've kind of done. I think they've done something pretty genius, and I guess it's still debatable. Ask all of you, like, do you prefer a show to drop all episodes at once or one at a time? Because we know the Mandalorian does one at a time, right? But then some other shows, it's all at once. What's your preference? Do you kind of like the choice to do it one at a time?
I thought
I'm an all at once guy.
I do like the all at once thing because I can just kind of catch up whenever I want to. But like with The Boys when season 2 came out,
yeah.
I almost kind of preferred the like wait a week for the next episode kind of thing because it kind of made me look forward to it a little more and like built my anticipation of it. It kind of sucks when you like when you're really looking forward to watching something and they put all the episodes out there and there's like nothing but spoilers online. So you're like, oh, well, it's going to happen. So there's no consequence for me.
That's the good thing about one at a time. Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both. Like I remember when Stranger Things Season 3 dropped, I binged all in one day. I didn't plan on it, but I enjoyed it. But I was exhausted, and I was like, it kind of just felt like, I just ate too much, right? It's just like, oh, shit, I could have just enjoyed it one at a time. Yeah, I do get that. What did you say, Mitch? You like them all at once or one at a time?
I'm an all-at-once guy.
Yeah.
I don't like waiting.
Because there's so much content, right? You can just kind of have your attention on it until it's done, and then you can move on to other stuff. So, yeah, that's another pro to that. And what about you, Megan? What do you prefer?
I like it all at once. I don't like waiting.
Sure.
I see why they do it that way, but then I lose interest then if I can't get it all at once.
Well, and the reason why I brought this up is because Unsolved Mysteries, they released, a set of shows. So that's kind of a different way to do it. I think they did maybe 5 episodes back in the summertime, and now they've done 5 more episodes instead of all at once. So I kind of like that idea, I guess. You get to watch those. However, it might be hard to bring fans back, for the other part. They moved on to other things, right? So I kind of feel that way about Volume 2. They came out, but I was into other things, so I did watch one episode. But I am liking what I'm seeing. I think it's a great reboot, and I think hopefully they'll do this, every few months. They'll have more and more. We'll see. I mean, this is probably counted as season 1. It's not as creepy as the original, I will say, but it's still good. And has everyone seen it? Have you seen it, Bill?
I have not seen it yet. I've heard about it, and I've been really looking forward to getting into it. I love the original series.
Yeah,
I used to watch that a lot.
Oh my god, yeah. We probably all maybe have similar experiences, but I remember it was like Sunday nights, sit down and watch it, get scared of the theme music. This is me for sure. And then my parents are like, now go to bed and have nightmares pretty much. And like, oh my God, so scared and terrified. Yeah. But yeah, the new one doesn't really do that for me. And maybe that's their goal, but I played the original theme for my kids, and man, they freaked out. I'm like, see, that's scary. This new one is not as scary. And you had, was it Robert Stack, I think was his name.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Just him was like, just creeped you out. Just his delivery, and he's like in a trench coat.
He was so funny in so many different things.
Yeah, I know. If you go watch Airplane, right? Yeah, Airplane. You'll be like, oh yeah, this guy's great. But I am enjoying it. I need to get into the rest of the Volume 2, if you will. Has anyone seen all of Volume 2 yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to. Too many surgeries on my plate. I haven't got time to do anything.
No, that's okay. That's okay. She, Megan's got a part in the MCU, so, it's totally justified. She's
actually going to London to help out with Doctor Strange, so it's fine.
There you go. I will say one more thing. Challenger, The Final Flight, that's on Netflix. That's a documentary. Of course, that's a huge, sad 86 disaster with the space shuttle Challenger. This documentary really takes you in depth. You get to know the astronauts who were part of the crew, and they actually show some of the wreckage in the ocean, which I've never seen before. It was crazy to see it. You think it's all gone, and a lot of it went into the ocean, deep into the ocean.
Yes, I saw that.
How did you like it? For what it was?
Yeah.
I know it's very sad to watch, but yeah.
It is, but I think the reason why I found it so intriguing is because it is slightly morbid. We obviously know that everybody died.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not that that's why you should watch it, but
right.
They go into such detail, about the events leading up to that. So,
and spoiler alert, NASA pretty much fucked up, big time.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy shit. Well, and they had the pressure because they set the launch date. They knew there was problems, I think, with the booster or something. So it wasn't like a total shock. It's kind of like what happened to, was it Columbia? What was it in, early 2000s? It re-entered the atmosphere and fell apart.
Space Shuttle Columbia.
Yes. And that was, of course, another foul up. I don't know if they've really recovered from that. I mean, they're still doing things, obviously.
I mean, the day of launch, they knew there was an issue the day of launch.
Right.
That there could potentially be. And they just did it anyways because they had to uphold this timeline. I mean, the media was waiting. Everybody was waiting. Let's get it done.
Yeah, it's pretty sad that, and it would have been, people, because they already postponed the flight, I think a couple times maybe. And
yeah,
people are already pissed off, and it's just sad that they're like, we can't piss them off anymore. We're just going to go for it. It's like, you don't want to say that to a space shuttle launch. It's like, just do it. Oh, it's just terrible. Terrible. But very good documentary. I highly recommend it. I remember when that came to be in my life when I was a kid. I think kindergarten we were talking about it because I started school in '87. So yeah, that was still, very fresh on people's minds. And it's just nice to get to know the astronauts. And it's very sad at the same time, but it's all available on Netflix. Bill, do you want to go ahead and plug your channel?
Yes. I decided to come up with this challenge for the month of November. If I can get to 100 subscribers by the end of November, I'm going to dye my hair green.
Sweet.
And it'll be on the internet for everyone to see forever and ever.
Sweet.
And I recommend Mitch to do it too. But
yeah.
Oh, the beard, yeah.
But no, I mean it's going good. I'm probably going to be branching out to doing some PC gameplay.
Nice.
Because I can figure out all the logistics of it. I tried doing one, and it's totally different beast from doing it on PlayStation 4, where everything's all in one. You have to, have different voice tracks for, you have your audio track and your video track, and you have to make sure it all lines up. And so once I can figure that out, I'll probably be doing some PC gameplay. But for now, I'm kind of like focusing on a kind of a horror theme. So I started that in October doing a game called Soma, which I'm almost done with, and then I'm into some other games too. So
fantastic.
Do you stream on platform?
I don't. I mainly just do recordings for YouTube, but I'll probably get into streaming at some point. I'd kind of looked into doing it on Twitch, and with all the issues they have with that platform, I just decided it wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably be doing something on YouTube as I get a little more popular, I guess.
Sure.
It's kind of hard to sit there and do a stream and talk to yourself for an hour.
It's kind of like why we haven't gone live ever, because I'm like, I don't know if anyone's going to tune in. I mean, I'm thinking like Facebook. I guess I'm thinking of YouTube as well. But yeah, it's just. But I think once you go live, people do figure out you're live, and they'll hopefully be nice to you and say some nice words or of encouragement. I don't know, but yeah, definitely in the beginning, I'm sure it's just like, you probably just have to be like, all right, I'll just set myself up to not have anybody, but I'm still gonna act like I do.
And a lot of times too, I'll record gameplay of games that are 3 years old. So if you do a stream on that, people are gonna be like, well, I've already seen this, I don't care about it.
Oh,
but if I did a stream of like something, like Warzone or something like that, it'd probably get a little more traffic, but that's really not my cup of tea, so to speak. So
sure. Just make up a headline, like Spider-Man 5, and then, below that, it's like, not really. I'm playing this game, guys.
Spoiler for Spider-Man 3.
Like, this is Batman 89. Like, does he know this? Like, yeah, I do. I got you. Creative ways there. Well, that's great. So yeah, 515 Gaming. Check it out, everybody. Yep. You also have a Facebook page, right?
Yep. I've got Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. I'm kind of starting to branch out on Discord a little bit more too, just because it's kind of especially when you're doing PC gameplay, it's good to have like a kind of like a party chat or like a voice chat you can do to like get with people. So I've been doing that a lot. But yeah, it's pretty much any one of the videos that's on my channel has links in the description for Facebook and things like that. So
fantastic. Get out there, everyone, and subscribe.
Yes,
that's excellent. Well, I also want to remind everyone, we just came off of Halloween, but we have 3 Halloween-themed episodes, if you will, of The Super Unknown, which is part of our network of shows. We interviewed some ghost hunters and tarot card reader, so that's out there. And of course, Bill's got a lot of spooky stuff on his channel. Definitely got some Friday the 13th gameplay. I enjoyed a lot. Just your commentary alone was just hilarious. So yeah, good shit.
The next time you go and meet a card reader, you need to let me know because I want to have my cards read.
Okay. Yeah, my wife actually got them read on the show. So yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
That will be fun. As soon as we can, we'll just have to get some hazmat suits, but
probably
be in a chamber. But yeah, that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much, Bill, for being on. Appreciate it. And go check out 515 Gaming. Yeah, anytime, man, anytime. So with that said, we'll be back. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Bill.
I'm Megan.
Take care, everybody.